New year, new you, new virus, new pandemic. As the clock struck midnight for the new year into 2020, we all had ambitions and expectations for this year. But little did we know, we would have a global pandemic and our daily lives would be altered. The year started as any other year except for a new virus, the coronavirus, which swept across the world, swimming through the air, pounding every lung that it attached itself to and causing complications that caused a pandemic among the world. It might have started with a bat. COVID-19 eventually mutated and found its way into the human lung. No one seen the severity of this pandemic in the beginning of 2020. In late 2019, China had announced a new virus that was sweeping through the country and taking lives by the minute. According to WHO, the phenomenon of unknown was detected in Wuhan. China was reported to the WHO country office in China on 31st of December 2019. 2 hospitals were built within 3 days to obtain sick patients and bodies which were multiplying by the day. The outbreak spread outside of China and caused mass panic all over the world. On the 13th of January 2020, the Thailand Ministry of Public Health reported the first imported cause of lab-confirmed novel coronavirus. The outbreak was declared a public health emergency of international concern on 30 of January 2020. The CDC as well as WHO were able to identify the symptoms and begin the testing process. However, there were difficulties. At first, the CDC and WHO announced the symptoms were dry cough, fever, difficulty breathing. Now, more had been added: vomiting, diarrhea, pink eye, also loss of smell and taste. The CDC had invented a test that is able to detect COVID-19 within 5 to 14 days, but it wasn't available for everyone. By the time of February came and gone into March, the country went into international concern, to epidemic, to global pandemic. In the beginning of February, the WHO had stated that they had international concern for the world. We were all warned that we would prepare for not if, but when it would reach us by the WHO. Cases began to grow rapidly still in China and starting in other countries like Italy. The novel coronavirus was named COVID-19. Guidelines mandated that the name of the disease could not refer to a geographical location, an animal, an individual group, or a group of people. It also needed to relate to the disease and be pronounceable. This choice will help guard against the use of other names that might be inaccurate or stigmatized. For the beginning of February, into March, the population, seeing how the severity could grow so quickly. Towards the beginning of February, a lot of people were concerned that the virus was a joke and that they celebrated events and gatherings like spring break on beaches. Towards the end of March, numbers began to rise all over the country, and people started taking it more seriously. Countries are shutting down by the numbers and being quarantined. The WHO explains how there is no choice but to act now. Multiple countries shut down restaurants and non-essential companies to help maintain the virus. Many countries postponed between 50% and 70% of citizens' bills to help them through this crisis. China reports the WHO and the CDC. China reports to the WHO and CDC that their numbers became stagnant with no new reports. Italy and Spain were the highest until US surpassed them, and China by 2 times as much, certainly at 336 to 336,280 confirmed cases. This started with a bat and mutated to a human, which then mutated between dogs, cats, and a tiger. We're all quarantined, but we learned, among other things, that this virus is airborne, and that a sneeze or cough could catch up to 20 feet. Worldwide, we are ordered to maintain a 6 feet distance between people to maintain this virus. We're also doing a no contact between people. A new year is supposed to bring happiness and joy. However, this one was despair and destruction for all of us with COVID-19. We went from seeing a small virus in the beginning to watching it grow into a pandemic as it swept across the world, to witnessing lives lost and countries hide in terror from the invisible enemy that has us all confined in our homes as we try to save lives by participating in safe distancing. Overall, we learned how something so small can rapidly grow and spread like wildfire. But as long as we stay together at a safe distance and listen to the CDC and WHO as they learn about this virus more and more each day. Thank you. Patrick Fuller.